Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
Worcester City win that game and they will be in Division 1 Midlands next season.
Chance in ball control. Job's got chance in the penalty. Gets shot in and goes to the back of the net. And Cheyenne Jarvis gets the second goal for Leaford Athletic this afternoon. Found space in the 6-yard box.
Back to the edge of the penalty area with the pass. Cross in towards the back post. Headed goalwards and in.
That's a great shot from De Castro. Oh, what a save for Gray. And the Red Cube 2-0.
Stourbridge have won the Division 1 Midlands title.
The Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio.
Good evening, welcome along to this week's Women's Football Chat. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every week bringing you the very latest from the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. That's the FA Women's National League. We cover all 6 divisions and the 72 teams within them. It's an online only episode this week. It's going to be significantly shorter with so few games taking place over the last weekend to go through. But we're going to start, as we always do, with the news, and we're going to the news from Northampton Town, who have appointed Matt Vernon as the women's first team head coach. He's been appointed alongside assistant head coach Jordan Williams, who Vernon has worked with throughout his coaching career. They've worked together at AFC Russian and Diamonds in the academy for 4 years before moving up to the first team in 2022. They've also been at Histon FC as well, and they are now tasked with leading the Cobblers forward in the Division 1 Midlands table. The head of women's football operations, Scott Loughran, said, "We are thrilled to confirm Matt and Jordan as our new first team head coach and assistant head coach for Northampton Town Women. Following a highly competitive and high quality interview process, Matt and Jordan stood out with a clear, ambitious and positive vision for the future of the team. We are excited for what lies ahead and confident that under their leadership, the team will continue to grow, compete and inspire." Matt has added himself that it's an exciting time. It's been a whirlwind past couple of weeks, but what an opportunity for himself and Jordan to be at a prestigious professional football club. The women's game is honest, hardworking and competitive, and we want fans to come and enjoy our football. There's a great group of girls here who I believe are going to turn some sharp corners quite quickly. The side are currently 10th in the Division 1 Midlands table and just a point above Stourbridge, who they meet on Sunday. That's the news really for the last 7 days. It's been a little bit of a quiet one, but there have been fixtures. There have been 6 games in the league, plus the round of 16 for both the Cup and the Plate competition. So we've got 15 games to look at there. 1 did not take place, plus 6 games to go through in the leagues. Yes, it's not going to take too long to go through these results, but we'll start in the Northern Premier Division, where there were 2 games: Sporting Cowser against Rugby Borough and Stoke City against Loughborough Lightning. So Rugby Borough beating Sporting Cowser by 3-2. Jessica Camwell had put Rugby in front early on in the 7th minute before Cowser equalised just after the half-hour mark through Olivia Stubbs. 1-1 at the break. Lily Greenslade then put Rugby back in front 7 minutes into the second half. Nikki Potts doubled the advantage with 10 minutes to go. A consolation goal for Megan Cann in the 94th minute meant Sporting Cowser end up going away with nothing. Stoke City 2, Loughborough Lightning 2. An own goal and a goal for Jessica Collier for Loughborough Lightning gave them their 2 goals. They were 2-0 up at the break, but Stoke pulling it back. Amelia Wilson in the 60th minute, and then a last-minute equaliser from Holly Deering giving Stoke a point from the game. What that means in the Northern Premier Division table, that point is enough to jump Stoke up 2 places into 5th. They have played a game more than West Bromwich Albion. Loughborough Lightning, the point for them is enough to take them off the bottom of the table. They're still in the relegation zone, but only on goal difference now. It is still so close between the teams in the midfield. Stoke are in 5th on 11 points. Derby are in 9th on 10 points. And there's only 5 points between 5th and 11th. So plenty still to go through and sort out in the Northern Premier Division. Crazy as well, we're nearly halfway through the season. 9 games played out of 22 for the vast majority of the teams in the Northern Premier Division. Just Wolves against West Brom still to fit in. That game was postponed due to the County Cup. Division 1 Midlands, 2 fixtures to look at here as well. Peterborough United beat Leeford Athletic by 2-0. Kira Ray and Hayley James with the goals for Peterborough means they remain perfect at the top. And Sheffield, great win for them at home to Boldmere St Michael's. Louisa Anderson with the only goal of the game in that one. What that means for the Midlands table, Peterborough United are now 5 points clear at the top of the table, with everybody in Division 1 Midlands having played 8 games. So they're 5 points clear of Barnsley Women's in second. Leeford Athletic remain third despite losing. Sheffield are up a place to 5th though. They're above Notts County now in the table. Notts County then dropped down to 6th. They're on 12 points. Sheffield on 13 points after that good win over Boldmere St Michael's. It is still looking like it may well be a race in the top 4 to get those 2 spots, one automatic, one in the playoff. But other than that, there's still plenty of moving that can happen. Notts County are on 12 points. They're 7 points ahead of Northampton Town in 10th. But the Division 1 Midlands table is significantly more stretched than the Northern Premier Division table, for example. One game in Division 1 South East. Milton Keynes Dons 0, Fulham 6. Fulham's goals here, Stella Morgan, Ellie Olds, Kaylee Stead, Katie Dungate, Naomi Bradley, and an own goal as well from Milton Keynes Dons. So Fulham 6-0 winners. They are now 4 points clear at the top of the Division 1 South East table. However, Norwich City have a game in hand. Milton Keynes Dons remain 3 points clear of the relegation zone, but AFC Sudbury have 2 games in hand over them. So Fulham, starting to lay down a bit of a marker. It looks to be that themselves and Norwich might start pulling away from everybody else fairly soon. And one game in Division 1 South West. Worthing 1, Abingdon United 2. Worthing taking the lead early on, the first minute for Lauren Amerina, giving Worthing the lead. But then Molly Ligo-Jackson and Molly Dyer, both in the second half, gave Abingdon United the ability to turn that game around and take the 3 points. What that means is that Worthing remain in the relegation zone. They've played a game more than everybody else around them. But Abingdon United, because the middle of Division 1 South West is so tight, they are up 3 places with those 3 points and are now in 5th. They're in the top half of the table, although they have played a game more than Bournemouth Sports, Maidenhead United and Ascot United, who could, as it stands, all re-overtake them with their game in hand. Right, those were the league fixtures. Said not many of them to go through this week. There were only 6. So let's have a look at the knockout stages of the Cup and the Plate. We're going to start with the Cup, and it was a good day for the home sides in the FAWNL Cup. We are now down to the quarter-final stage. Middlesbrough beating Liverpool Feds by 2-1. Rebecca Ferguson with the goal for Middlesbrough in the game, with Chloe Fisher equalising for Liverpool Feds in the 88th minute. Leanna Giles with the goal for Middlesbrough as well, that sent them through into the quarter-final. So a narrow one there. Burnley beating Real Bedford by 4-0. Burnley relatively comfortable and convincing in the end. 2 for Amy Kelly, 1 for Heidi Logan and 1 for Charlie Chadwick. West Bromwich Albion, they needed penalties to get past Leeds United. They win on penalties by 4-2. Rather unhelpfully, must be said, they have decided on full time to put all of the penalty shootout scorers down as regular scorers. So it'll be very much a case of trying to go through and see who in this looks to be the one who has scored the normal time goal, and you just can't. But West Bromwich Albion 1, Leeds United 1, West Brom winning by 4-2 on penalties. Wolverhampton Wanderers made the trip to AFC Sudbury and won by 3-0. Rachel Quigley, Beth Merrick and Charlotte Greengrass with the goals for Wolves. Dulwich Hamlet had to pull out of the FAWNL Cup. They had less than 11 fit players. They basically finished with 11 fit players in their last game, then played in midweek in a cup competition, had a couple of more players get injured and basically cannot field a side. So Lewis get the home walkover. They are through into the quarterfinals. Plymouth Argyle 3, Oxford United 2. Layla Proctor, Eleanor Noble and Phoebe Poole with the goals for Plymouth Argyle. Nicole Barrett and Emma Thompson with the goals for Oxford, but they end up going out. Swindon continue their good form this season. They beat Tier 3 Cheltenham by 3-1. Annabelle Colston with a brace. Libby Davis with one as well. And AFC Bournemouth beating Exeter City by 3-0 to book their plays. Exeter went down to 10 just before the hour mark. But Jenna Markham in the 55th minute, and then 2 for Molly Clark, 66th and 74th minute, meant Bournemouth go through. West Bromwich Albion then through to the quarterfinals of the FAWNL Cup. That was the game we were covering on Switch Radio last weekend. So after the game, Kevin Moore caught up with their head coach, Siobhan Hodgetts.
Chev, congratulations. Through on penalties to progress to the quarter-final of the National League Cup. We took on a Tier 4 team who, would be fair to say, had a particular game plan this afternoon, didn't they? Did you expect that was going to be the case anyway, Chev?
We've seen them in a block before, and obviously we've seen them press teams, so we had footage of both. So we was expecting it, but obviously it could have gone either way depending on their game plan.
Yes, with it being a cup competition as well, I got the impression that they thought if they scored first, they're going to be totally defensive for the remainder of the game. Was that your sense of feeling how the game was going to pan out anyway?
Yeah, to be fair, I thought they sat in a block from the start. I think there was times that they looked to counter us, and but as soon as the first goal went in, they sat in a block. And to be fair, they hit us on a counter. I thought what they did was effective. So, they was really hard to break down. They had numbers in and around the 18-yard box. They had everything, cleared everything. So credit to them. I thought they defended well. Made it difficult for us.
Made some changes to start off with, Chev, and of course using your bench to be utilising your bench for the game this afternoon as well. But a lot of chances in the first half. I thought you had a lot of possession and midfield battle as well. I thought you won a lot of midfield battles in the game in the first half in particular. But half-time team talk, did you want to make any sort of immediate change for the first 10-15 minutes of the second half?
I think we have to give people obviously opportunities, and just thought we have to be a little bit more braver in possession and a bit of movement to try and pull them out of their block. I thought was important, and then we just needed to tidy up a little bit in possession. So, I thought we made subs where it was needed, and I thought that subs that did come on did really well.
Impact, of course, with Molly Kehoe's finish, good finish, but also well-worked goal in general to score the goal in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's what we spoke about. We had to play in tighter areas and move the ball quickly in those areas, and we spoke about getting runners on the back line, and that's the goal that you saw. So really happy for Molly that she scored as well and took the goal.
Well worked goal, obviously. Now fitness levels do play a big part when you potentially have an extra 30 minutes to play on a Sunday evening as well, after a lot of training and playing a lot of games already this season. Was that something you made the players aware of? They said this could be a longer game than normal, and the fitness level certainly paid a big dividends in the extra time because you had lots of possession. I thought fitness wise towards the end you looked a much stronger group of players on the pitch compared to Leeds.
Yeah, we're a fit side. They all had the time to get good game time. So, but yeah, no, look, we're a fit squad. We're a good squad, and I thought they did well today to play the 90 and extra, and then very composed in the penalty shootout as well.
Yes, very composed penalties, and these situations do produce heroes, don't they? Lavana Johnson, I think she'll toast on that for many days to come.
Yeah,
and quite right as well.
Yeah, quite rightly as well. So I think she sometimes keepers don't get the credit, and today I think Solihull she saved the penalty, and today we was confident that she we'll get a hand to 1 or 2, and she did. So, really credit to her, and I'm really happy for this moment for her.
So it's great to get through to the quarterfinals, but back to the bread and butter league duties. Local derby against Calcer. Was it a case of rest and recuperation for the players? It took a lot of them today, as it would any player in this situation, playing a late game of this sort of nature. Was it a case of get a bit of rest for them all and just back to the mental preparedness for the game against Calcer next Sunday?
Yeah.
Business as usual, yeah?
Yeah, look, we obviously can look at today and quite quickly need to look at where the areas what we need to work on. But league action next week, and that's our focus. We want 3 points, so we'll do. The players will get a couple of days off and a day off, and then back. We'll look to prep for Calcer. As you can see from the league, it's tight and teams can beat anyone. So we need to make sure that Calcer are improving, and so we need to make sure that we're on our best form to get 3 points.
The draws for the Cup and Plate, they were made on Monday. It's still regional at the quarterfinal stage, which is something I don't really like. I think we could definitely go national in the Cup quarterfinal stage. I kind of get it for the Plate to a point to keep it regional, but at the moment the chances are that you might only play a team other than who you normally play very, very late on. You take the northern half of the draw, for example, it's Middlesbrough, Burnley, West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers. They are all teams in the Northern Premier Division. They are all teams, particularly the like of Wolves and West Brom, who play each other often in the County Cup as well. So you have that added in there. Wolves hosting West Brom this time around, Burnley hosting Middlesbrough. So that's there as well as another. Well, we've played them a million times already, but that's the northern half of the draw. The southern half of the draw, Lewis against Plymouth Argyle, Swindon Town against AFC Bournemouth. Of course, when you get to the quarterfinal stage of the Cup, you're going to get the teams that are towards the top of the tier 3 tables, apart from Swindon Town, of course, who are still in tier 4, but do feel as though you could go national in this round and just have at least the chance of drawing somebody different, because with the best will in the world, my gut instinct tells me that you'll end up with a semi-final of Burnley and Wolves. Bournemouth get past Swindon, Lewis to Plymouth Argyle, not too sure, but it is just, you just end up playing the same teams all the time. And I know you kind of get that towards the latter stages of things like the FA Cup and things like that, but it just feels like there's an opportunity there, at least in the Cup, to go national in the quarterfinal stage and to do something a little bit different. Moving on to the Plate. Now, we had kind of mixed results in the Plate, really, as far as this show is concerned. Chorley 4, Notts County 0. 2 for Elizabeth Hamer, 1 for Megan Searson and 1 for Nicola Worthington for Chorley. Cheadle Town Stingers beat Huddersfield Town by 2-1. Good result for Cheadle Town, that one. They had gone behind in the 67th minute to Felicity Jones, but 2 for Imogen Portis Williams, 75th minute and 85th minute means they go through to the quarter-finals. Stockport County 1, Durham Sestra 2. Durham Sestra, very, very late goals here as they really turn this game around. Natalie Watson in the 78th minute for Stockport County had put them in front, and they were still in front with 3 minutes to go. But Lelusu Mateus, 88th minute and 92nd minute for Durham Sestra, had come on in the 79th minute and then scores 2 goals to turn that tie around, and Durham Sestra go through into the quarter-finals. Halifax, they knocked out an academy side as they beat Birmingham City by 3-1. 2 for Farrah Crompton and 1 for Anna Phillips. The difference in that game. That's the northern half of the Plate. In the southern half, Gwalior United of Tier 3 beat London Bees of Tier 4 by 3-2. Betty Larkin with the 2 goals for London Bees, but Corey Williams-Mills, Tia Asker and Kira O'Keefe with the goals for Gwalior United, who had scored 2 inside the first 6 minutes in that game to really set themselves up for success. Maidenhead United had a very strong performance against Moneyfields, but lost by 5-3 on penalties. Goals in the game: Megan Harper and Isabella Stockton for Maidenhead United, Ali Hall and Sophie Phelps with the goals for Moneyfields, who then go through on penalties. But it wasn't to be for our two other sides taking on academy sides. Ascot United losing to London City Lionesses by 2-0. Chloe Cabot and Tara Walsh with the goals for London City Lionesses, and Norwich City being defeated by Brighton and Hove Albion's PGA side by 2-1. Isabel Moore with the goal for Norwich City, Eliana Martin in the 4th and the 37th minute with the goals for Brighton and Hove Albion. The draw for the plate sees Cheadletown Stingers take on Durham, Sestria and Halifax against Chorley, and then Moneyfields host London City Lionesses academy side, and Gwalior United take on Brighton and Hove Albion's academy side. So last year, you'll remember, we had 2 PGA sides in the semi-finals. Thankfully, they both got knocked out. This year, we've got 2 in the quarter-finals, so obviously still an opportunity to match what's happened last year. But hopefully, Moneyfields and Gwalior United will be able to knock those sides out when they take each other on, not until January. So those are all of the results from the last 7 days. Let's then have a look at a almost full programme coming up in the FAWNL this week. Northern Premier Division, then we do have a full programme. Burnley against Derby County, 1st against 9th. Halifax take on Liverpool Feds, 12th against 8th. Middlesbrough against Hull City, 4th against 7th. Sporting Cowser against West Brom, 10th against 6th. Stoke City against Rugby Borough, 5th against 3rd. And Wolverhampton Wanderers in 2nd against Loughborough Lightning in 11th. So very much kind of 3rd against 5th, with Rugby against Stoke is probably the game of the day there. Elsewhere, you've got 1st against 9th, you've got 2nd against 11th, you've got 6th against 10th, kind of mid-table to lower mid-table. Middlesbrough against Hull, again kind of mid-table there. There is now a 6-point gap between Middlesbrough in 4th and Rugby Borough in 3rd, so it's starting to look like it's going to be, particularly with the games in hand for Wolves and Rugby, it may well be that you end up essentially with 25 points, 23 points, 23 points, and then 14, and then it's 2 of those top 3, 1 automatic and 1 in the playoffs, and it just seems to be a case of who's missing out, as long as they can keep that form going as it is. But it looks like Stoke against Rugby Borough in the Northern Premier Division will be the game of the day. Southern Premier Division, then Billericay Town in 12th against Lewis in 9th. Exeter City against AFC Wimbledon. Exeter currently in 6th. Wimbledon in 11th. Oxford United against Plymouth Argyle, 7th against 3rd. Real Bedford against AFC Bournemouth, 4th against 1st. Hashtag United in 8th take on Cheltenham Town, who are 5th. And Watford against Gwalior United, 2nd against 10th. So probably Real Bedford against AFC Bournemouth, the one to watch out for this weekend. Real Bedford, as said, in 4th, could climb up to 3rd. AFC Bournemouth will want to get the win to keep the pace with Watford, who you would suspect at home to Gwalior United would get the win. Division 1 Midlands then, and the top 2 come up against each other. Barnsley Women's in 2nd against Peterborough United in 1st. Barnsley looking to get to within 2 points of Peterborough United. Of course, a win for Posh, who currently have a 100% record of 8 wins out of 8, would put them 8 points clear of Barnsley Women's in 2nd. Of course, that might not be the case come the end of Sunday, because if Leaford Athletic win, Boldmere St Michael's win, then they would be 2nd and the gap would not be quite so big. But a huge game towards the top of Division 1 Midlands as the top 2 fight it out. Lincoln United currently bottom of the table. They take on Sutton Coldfield Town, who are 9th. That is our Switch Sport commentary on Sunday afternoon. Northampton Town against Stourbridge. Big big game towards the bottom again. 10th against 11th in that one. Stourbridge could be out of the bottom two with a win. Worcester City against Sheffield, mid-table sides there, 5th against 7th. Bournemouth St Michael's in 4th against Kidderminster Harriers, who are in 8th, and Leaford Athletic, who are 3rd, take on Notts County, who are in 6th. In Division 1 North, it is also this weekend County Cup weekend. So some teams are involved in their respective county cups. Chester Street Town against Doncaster Rovers Bells, 8th against 9th. Chorley take on Huddersfield, that's 6th against 3rd. Leeds United against York City is 4th against 11th. Stockport County in 5th against Cheadletown Stingers, who are 1st. And Wythenshawe, who are 2nd against Blackburn Rovers, who are bottom of the table. Of course, it is so close towards the top of Division 1 North. The top 6 only separated by 4 points, and that includes Stockport County, who have a game in hand. So every single game is so important towards the top of the Division 1 North table. Division 1 South East more heavily affected by County Cup, so only 4 games taking place. Cheshire United against Actonians, 12th against 7th. London Bees take on Cambridge United, which is 3rd against 6th. Queen's Park Rangers against Luton Town, 4th against 8th. And Chatham Town against Norwich City, 5th against 2nd. So Cheshire United, the bottom side, in action, but AFC Sudbury are not. Milton Keynes Dons are not, and Dulwich Hamlet are not. So Cheshire United, with a win, could move themselves out of the relegation zone, with Milton Keynes Dons not playing. However, they will then have played 2 games more than AFC Sudbury and only be 3 points ahead of them. Most heavily affected by the County Cups as a whole is Division 1 South West. Only 3 games taking place here. Bournemouth Sports in 6th against Portishead Town, who are bottom of the table. Bristol Rovers in 3rd against Moneyfields, who are 2nd. So 2 of the top 3 going head to head. And Keynsham Town against Ascot United is 10th against 8th. So another big game towards the bottom. They both want to put distance between themselves and the bottom 2. But Moneyfields could go top if they win away at Bristol Rovers. Yes, they will have played a game more than Swindon Town. They will also have a much better goal difference than Swindon Town, and they will pull themselves up to the top of the table with a win over Bristol Rovers. Bristol Rovers cannot overtake, realistically, Moneyfields this weekend. They would need to win by 7 goals in order to overtake them on goal difference. But all they will want to do is keep pace with the teams towards the top, i.e. Moneyfields and Swindon Town. That is all of the fixtures coming up in the next 7 days. Said it would be quite a bit shorter, but we have one more thing to note. We've set out here at the Women's Football Chat on a mammoth project. You will have seen over the last couple of weeks a couple of videos come out on the channel looking and hypothesising about what the FAWNL will look like in 5 and 20 years time, based entirely on Football Manager, which has the women's game introduced for the first time. The women's pyramid, the first 2 tiers are in there and they are fine, apart from the fact that it is locked in only 1 relegation spot from the championship, which we can't change. But everything below that is very kind of sporadic and missing. The FAWNL sides are there, but they're not necessarily kind of in the right place and doing the right things. Everything below that is extremely random. There were 64 teams below that seem to exist purely for use in the FA Cup. We have set out, using the editor, to change all of this and get it all perfect with the pyramid right down to tier 7. But we need your help. There are a lot of teams to go through. So if you have information on any of the teams within the pyramid down to 7, I know that in some counties we go down to tier 12. That will come later. We need to focus on getting tier 7 done, because then the FA Cup in the game will get sorted as well. If you have any information, and the sort of things we are looking for is the names of the grounds, kit colours, that sort of thing. there is a Google Sheet which anybody can access. You can find the link on @WFootballChat. If you've got any information about any of the teams, please do put the information in there, and then I will input it into the game, and it will just speed things up significantly, because there's about 500 teams that we need to enter into the database. And then once the database is done, which hopefully won't take too long, once get into the flow of things, it probably takes, I would say, around 5 minutes a team to get them inputted into the system, which means on average I could probably do a league an hour. So based on that, you're looking at 8 hours for tier 5, and then maybe another 16 hours or maybe 20 hours or so to do tier 6, and then we get down into the county leagues. Obviously that will be quicker if I don't have to find out the information myself. So as we're going through it, if you have any information, please do put it into the Google Sheet. And then, as I said, once the database is done, it will all be released, and then you can download it into your game, and you can play with anybody from the top 7 tiers, and it should all work hunky-dory, and we'll have a great women's pyramid to do. And then the great thing is, we get this sorted this year. Then in next year's game, all we've got to do is alter the leagues that some teams are in, because the editor data is already there, and it will only take an hour to make it all up to date, and we can have it from day one next year, all 7 tiers. And then, yeah, if we get that all sorted, then might look at those county leagues that have several divisions in them as well. So again, please, if you've got any information, it's all on a Google Sheet. It's really easy to fill in. There's even a reference grid there for the kit combinations that are in the game. If you've got information, please do fill them in. It would be a great help. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat. Thank you very much for watching. Next week, we're back on Switch Radio again with a full quota of FAWNL pretty much. Fixtures to go through, and then a week on Sunday it is FA Cup Day again, so we've got some fantastic ties to look at ahead of the FA Cup weekend. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat, and goodbye.